Welcome to the Real CP Show. I'm your host, CP. And today's topic, African runners let Chinese man win half a marathon. The shame and embarrassment of this. Again, today's topic is African runners let Chinese man win half a marathon. The shame and embarrassment of this. Yes, yes. See the switchery part, right? The audacity part in this is that unfortunately there are some numbers of African personnel, the ones who know who they are, that have this audaciousness to have a hatred of American blacks, the ones this applies to. They called American blacks lazy. You always talking about racism. But at the same darn time, how numbers of African personnel, the ones applies to, how they look at certain one personnel within America, certain ones within the predominant culture as their gods. Want to be just like numbers of personnel of their gods. How many numbers of African personnel, the ones applies to, that continue to not only run as fast as possible away from an ancient continent of Africa, fall all over chairs, right? Jump over airplanes, walk over their other type of African personnel counterparts to get away from Africa. And you have some number of the African person that got the nerve. You see how that sounds. And watch this. You'll have certain numbers of African personnel, the ones who know they are, that'll be like, say in this topic right here, African runners let a Chinese man win a half a marathon. The shame and embarrassment of that. You'll have certain type of African personnel. They'd be like, because that some of them feel very inferior, right? Some of them feel very inferior. And some of them, the ones it applies to, they look at American blacks with jealousy, and they're ones who do that. It's like, here it is, the monolithic numbers of American blacks, not various ethnicities of American blacks, not many villages of American blacks, not many provinces of American blacks, but American blacks are monolithic. And here it is that you have numbers of African personnel, the ones applies to, right, that have gigantic tribalism problems, gigantic ethnicity problems, gigantic village problems, where you got numbers of African personnel that dare not intermarry other villages, that dare not sit there and talk to someone from another country right next to them. You see the audacity of certain numbers of African personnel, the one this applies to. And so then when you checkmate that tail, this is what certain numbers of African personnel do. Say in this situation, well, African runners let Chinese men win half marathon, right? Shame and embarrassment. You'll have some African personnel, because of did they know how this looks, the ones that know this applies to. Well, it's not all African runners that No, I'm not gonna play that tactic. I'd be like, nonsensical rhetoric need not apply. Right? Right. The story goes is that there was this half a marathon in Beijing, China, a couple of weeks ago. And getting close to the end of that marathon, half a marathon in Beijing, China, there were about 3 African runners. I think one from Ethiopia, and the other 2 was from I think it was Kenya. And when they got close to the finishing line, you can see very plainly one or a couple of, but especially one of the African runners wave on the Chinese man. That was embarrassment. Let me go ahead and just play that video. Let me go ahead and play this video. This was so embarrassing on that. Let me play this video.
你看4个人很有默契呀、对，在这天的这个全程当中，这4个人都是一直保持在一起。是的，而且有沟通，有交流。这样是不是也是选手之间的一种相互促进？是的，我说积极的一种促进。哇，越跑越快啊！何洁在最后是完全冲刺了起来。我们来看看最后的成绩啊，恭喜何洁。
What an embarrassment. Let's take one more look at that. Look at this. You see on the left side, you see the African runner tell him, come on over, come on over. You see the embarrassment of this? Look at this. And the Chinese man, like he just, this particular Chinese runner, like he just, having a hard time and trying to stay up there in the front. And look at the 3 different African runners. They're just having fun, like a little, extra little, outgoing, having fun. Right? And look at the Chinese particular guy, like he's having a hard time trying to run. What an embarrassment. Yes. What an embarrassment. That was an embarrassment. That's an embarrassment. And let me read you something that from the afterwards, from decisions after an uproar was happening about this. It talks about how the winner of Beijing's half a marathon, He, whatever his name is, and 3 African runners have had their results canceled after an investigation found that the 3 African runners slowed down near the finish line, allowing the Chinese athlete to finish first. They talking about how this particular Chinese runner had this particular half marathon time, not important. They said which was a second ahead of this Ethiopian runner, and the 2 Kenyans who tied for second place. The organizing committee said in a statement that the 3 African runners actively slowed down in the last 2 kilometers, and as a result, He, whatever it is, won the men's championship. All trophies, medals, and bonuses will be withdrawn, and the athletes will be reported to some kind of athletes association. What an embarrassment on that. What an embarrassment. Mm, mm, mm. The shamefulness of this. And again, this what makes the audacity of certain numbers of African personnel that have the audacity to look down upon American blacks in America. And there are numbers of African personnel that only do that because they're not being checkmated by quite a number of of American blacks. Because when you start breaking things down statistics wise, man, there'll be a lot of hurt feelings on certain numbers of African personnel. Don't get it confused. I'm not talking about the good numbers of African personnel who know they are. And the ones who know they are knows that there are numbers of African personnel have some sellouts among themselves. Let me sit there and read you some comments because it's not going to be a long show whatsoever. Let me just read you some comments on this. They didn't even try to fake the loss. They just waved him on. The real question is, how much were the Africans paid to throw the race? The cringe and secondhand embarrassment is overwhelming. I'm going to spend the night under a rock and act like I never saw this. Yes, that's how much embarrassing it was. And you talking about on the world stage with people that were watching this, because marathons are a big time sport event, and they was talking about in China, man, it's just exploding this in marathons and half marathons going on in China. So you can imagine the number of people that watched this and saw 3 African personnel, one from Ethiopia and 2 from Kenya, that showed shamefulness. That would be an embarrassment to their families and other numbers of African personnel. Yes. Yes. Another comment says that this person is Asian, which is another game in itself because it's Afro-Asian people. And again, on the category of supremacists, these people are brilliant, right? Because supremacists like, when you say they're Asian, it's like, which Asians are you talking about? Asia is a freaking continent, but that's a whole different game in itself. So this particular person says, I'm Asian, and there is no way an East Asian guy can beat an African in this sport. China can even beat other Asians without cheating. See, think about it, there are numbers of other Asians who ain't playing that game. See, unfortunately, it's within American blackism by the millions that have this gullibleness and naiveness. And I'm not talking about the few percentage ones within American blackism that ain't falling for this. But here's a problem. 1960s, there was probably a lot more American blacks that had more unity. So go somewhere with that. The supremacists like, those Negroes don't get it. They think every generation you get a few little Negroes that jump up and down. They think that they're progressing and they're catching on. Bah! See the game of that? Now, of course, there needs to be more American blacks that checkmate numbers of African personnel, the ones that play that tactic, let alone some other personnel as well that need to get checkmated too by numbers of American blacks. Continuing. This is what Africa has literally done most of its existence. Technically and voluntarily allow every other person to win except Africa. Ooh. Oof. And then some personnel made a comment back. Let me phrase that. There was a comment somewhere in that mix that started talking about relating to this. They started talking about different other civilizations or different other backgrounds of people that just went into Africa and just started, chakapo, gupukum, and chapakin, and colonizing and fakapin and all that kind of stuff throughout Africa. Various parts of Africa, right? And so with the person was laying over different people that have colonized and went to destroy various parts of Africa, and even how numbers of people right now that are doing third wave, pseudo second wave colonization, pseudo wave, smiling numbers of African people face, the ones it applies to, right? And numbers of African personnel don't even realize the destruction that's heading toward Africa, right? Unfortunately, with very few exceptions within Africanism that know this, right? So this reply says, I call it the hurt feelings reply. They say, oh, not really. This is only modern history. It is just for the last 400 years. Calm down. See, again, deflection, right? Because it hurts the truth. Because American blacks say 400 years of American black pain. And you hear numbers of African personnel, the ones applies to, oh, now I was talking about racism and stuff like that. Who the hell do some numbers of one think they are? The ones applies to. When the population of Africans, I'm talking about the ones applies to in America, is very small. The nerve of some African personnel, they know who they are. And again, it's not the numbers of good ones. But here's the problem. See, collectively, this system is not going to allow numbers of African personnel with mentalities to say, wait a minute, we need to come together with our American black counterparts. Oh, no, no, no. That's not the collective number of African personnel that they allow in this country. And here's the funny part. You got high numbers of African personnel in America that don't even stick the damn together. You got numbers of backgrounds of tribalism from an Africanism in America that they don't even talk to each other like that in America. The nerve of some numbers of African personnel. So continue after that comment. Somebody put the truth on this. They said, congrats on having old civilizations. Too bad compared to the West, those old civilizations accomplished absolutely nothing. Oh my goodness. Woo. Mm, mm, mm. That's so that was embarrassment. Ooh. Now, for the personnel who listened to this so far, let me throw in a bonus. Now, unfortunately, there are numbers of American blacks, right? Unfortunately, that look upon certain numbers of Asians, the ones it applies to, as some super smartness of smartness. And the system knows that many numbers of American blacks are not researchers, right? And they don't sit there and study different cultures. Because it's like if more numbers of American blacks start studying certain type of Asianness, especially certain type of main ones, and you start looking at how you say, wait a minute, now some of them are very lonely. Very lonely. Right? And numbers of their populations is dwindling as well. And certain Asian countries, their population is dwindling as well. And many numbers of certain main Asian personnel don't stand out among each other. It's almost like a roboticness. But see, numbers of American blacks don't study these kind of things. Now, to the good numbers of Asian personnel, more power to them. Right? But watch this for a second. Back in 2018, I think 2018, there was another one of various ones. Also, another embarrassment, not related to the African personnel runners this time, but it was showing how certain numbers of participants in that Chinese marathon they said close to 300 participants were cheating. Let me read you something. It said long distance running races are increasingly popular in China, but have a checkered history of cheating and poor organization. In Shenzhen, I may say it wrong, Shenzhen or something like that, 2018 half marathon, 258 participants were caught cheating, most of whom had taken shortcuts through some wore fake bibs and others were imposters. But this is some of the, but at the same time, but these are some of the people that numbers of American blacks look at them like, oh wow, they're going to some of these great Ivy League colleges. They're so smart. They're this and all that. Please, please, right? And how many have gotten caught sitting there with the hand in the cookie jar, sitting there selling secrets, intelligence? Mm-hmm. Right? Don't get it confused. I'm talking about graduate, get into certain things, get into some trouble. The ones who know they are, right? How many numbers of certain ones? We talking about Asian personnel that numbers of them want to be like numbers of personnel within the Paname's culture. How many of them make sure to sit there and bleach their skin, which is kind of oxymoronic on that? How many of them had that surgery to try to open up the eyes? How many of them sit there and try to talk like certain people within the Paname's culture? You see how that goes, right? But see, numbers of American blacks don't call numbers of their hypocrisy shit stuff out, right? The situation happened, what was it, Harvard or Yale, whatever it was, or in University of North Carolina, Chapel Hill, when you had some other predominant-based personnel who know they are, right? They got in cahoots with numbers of Asian personnel and have the nerve to sit there and try to, what they actually did, strike down certain affirmative action situations at certain colleges and try to make it seem like that American blacks only got in those colleges above certain Asian personnel because of like some kind of diversity. Oh, they crazy as hell. But it's funny, not at all, how numbers of Asian personnel don't talk about how, oh, so you telling me that there's no numbers of personnel under the predominant culture that have gotten in colleges based upon legacy programs, right? Not because they earned it, because of legacy programs. So you telling me that numbers of Asian personnel, that there's no Asian personnel that has scored a lot less below certain numbers of American blacks? Are you crazy? But then again, they don't talk about numbers of personnel within the predominant culture. You see how that goes? Because they're scared because they look at the personnel within the predominant culture as gods. Oh yeah, see, numbers of personnel within certain Asians. Oh, see, they don't like to have reality thinking black males that get on that ass and let them know who the hell you think y'all are. Right? You ain't all that. Why are you over here in America? Because you don't stand on your own damn country in Asia. Oh, they don't like that. Let me sit there and show you that video. This is a piece of the video. This is that one in 2018 in China, the half marathon. You see how that goes? Look, you see that? Look on the left side. Let's play that again. You see how some of the personnel on the left side, and they're going through the trees and going to the right side. And who do you think their personnel might be? One. You best believe that wasn't a lot of black American blacks in that. So who the hell do you damn think was going to be a primary personnel who were doing the cheating? Look at that. Look at the right side. You see some people going through the trees? Yes. See, those American blacks better start waking up now. Primarily, it's not going to happen. It's not going to happen because too many internal problems. And unfortunately, within American blackism, modern day, it's too much allowed to sit there and look upon other people who are fooling millions of American blacks within modern day, within the playing people of color games upon millions of American blacks, playing minority-based switcher games upon millions of American blacks. With few exceptions, American blacks knowing the game. So anyway, I just wanted to just kind of relay this show over because it was something that again is a timepiece purpose. Because there are some people who saw this topic, and there are some people who have not seen this video. So when the for a purpose, right? This is such an embarrassment.
我们看四个人很有默契呀、对，
Class
在这天的这个全程当中，这四个人都是一直保持在一
Ethiopian
起，
and 2 African
而且有共同
and 2
的交流。
Kenyans. That was
是不是也是选手之
this
间的
that
一
is
种
embarrassing, right?
我说积极的一种促进，越
Yes.
跑越快啊！何洁在最后是完全冲刺了起来。
Yes.
我们来看看最后的成绩啊。
Very embarrassing. And you have some people that have the nerve to try to talk about American blacks. I thank you for tuning in to the Real CP show. I hope this was a interesting topic. Thank you.